All right, it's my pleasure here to be in Korea and be the moderator for the day for this event to talk about globalization for the projects around in Korean space. So, well, allow me to do a quick intro. Me myself, I'm Chung. I have been in the crypto space, blockchain for the last 6 years almost. Have been in many various funds. In the last 6 years, I was lucky enough to participate in many of the blockchain projects. Many of them also were Koreans. I believe probably more than 200 by now. Just a lot of projects went through in these years. And well, I'm here today representing for L-Bank Lab, which is L-Bank is a tier 2 global exchange out there, existing since 2015-ish. And well, I'm here helping out with the investment side. That's what we do. And we have recently invested in the last half a year, 15 global funds globally out there. Many of those names are actually on this, in the event today, and besides that, also we do a lot of primary investment. And now I would love to give a couple of minutes to everyone here to do a self-intro, perhaps to the crowd.
Testing. Hi everyone, I'm Nick from Lazy Research. Lazy Research is an external asset management in crypto area. We do manage the crypto assets for clients through management account like API. We don't custody clients' money. And I started doing crypto by myself since 2019 on BitMEX. Back to very old days when you put more than like 10 Bitcoin, the system will still lag for like 10 minutes or 5 minutes. You can never execute it. And that's the old days. And I focused on trading since then. And at the same time, I worked for other family office doing their portfolio management in VC, in secondary market, and some buy and hold portfolio. And I'm based in Hong Kong. And if you guys have any problems in Hong Kong, let me know, because we do a lot of stuff related to crypto, like OTC, trading, venture, or like networking event. Let me know, man.
Hello. Hi, I'm Kwon Park. I'm one of the managing directors at Crypto.com. I've been in this space about 9 years now. Used to be actually a lawyer. Very happy I don't have to practice law anymore, but worked on the outside consulting a lot of crypto companies, and then joined Crypto.com last year. I was at another exchange before that for a long time, and it's good to be here. I focus a lot on the operations side, but I do work with the listing and the capital team at Crypto.com. So happy to be here.
I mean, it's glad to see a bunch of everyone here on the panel. It's been in the space for a couple of good years. An impressive 9 years, and especially for a lawyer moving to crypto, where there's so many regulations out there today. Like something I would love to catch up afterwards as well. But then we're coming to the theme of today's topic. I would like to ask if you guys can share about the idea. What do you guys think is the most important factors for as a strategy for global expansion towards the local products, such as Korea moving forward to the other countries?
Yeah, and I guess my perspective might be a little different, because Crypto.com is a global company trying to set up a local office here. We've acquired licenses, a FASP license, we've got a payments license, and we're just trying to localize the product. But I think the message is still the same. Obviously, building a product with trust and security and that's compliant, it's a message and theme, I guess, that's continuing even more from last year with everything that's happened in the crypto space. But for us, especially regulation, it's key. Even if you're going globally, I think you have to worry about more places. But as an exchange and an app trying to enter local markets, there's certainly a lot of things we need to consider when we're looking at which products we're going to launch. And the regulations have a lot to drive our decision making. And one of the challenges too is sometimes it's not very clear in other places, in other jurisdictions, what the rules are. So, just having your feet on the ground, having local counsel and folks that understand the market, giving you advice, trusted people, I think that's very important.
I'm very different from the crypto.com's perspective, yeah, because I'm doing VC. If you're considering localizations of like global projects, globalization of local projects, we're more looking on the flexibility of the team, because by different projects or different industry, different sector, it gives you various of flexibility. Let's say if you're doing exchange, regulations, compliance must be the first priority. You need to consider it. And if you're doing DeFi, so you're doing lending, borrowing, then I believe the flexibility on adapting local cultures or doing marketing and promotions is a key point that you need to like take care about. Yeah, so that's why for us, the flexibility of the team and the background of the team is what we focus on more care about.
All right. Well, just adding up a bit to the topic here. I mean, obviously the product, the team are important, but when it comes to also just something what I realized in these years is actually the Western projects tends to, in terms of the product wise, they tend to have a much more simplified UI UX and perhaps more direct. You go in there, it's a swap. Because you can only do swap there. You can't do much more than that. Whereas very much when you see the Eastern, the Oriental projects, they are much more complex. Each of them are trying to solve this kind of like one-stop shopping for everything. So when it comes to globalization, something I would like to add in terms of the product is maybe you want to see where your main customers are, whether it's more Oriental or whether it's more foreigners, and you adapt to the way they like to see it. And the coloring is something that I would also like to add. Now the tendency is less is more. Easier is actually easier for the eye, makes the user experience a bit better. So that is actually integrated to a part of the globalization when we want to move it, targeting the client, and then we'll make sure that your anchor user can leverage out there towards the other user that maybe using the product as well. And now besides the product, next thing I would love to ask is also marketing, because I say we know crypto is a lot about attention economy. So the product can be really good, but if you don't have a good attention marketing economy, it still very often gets stuck. And what do you guys think is the best strategies moving forward with this marketing? Please.
For me, I think, because I'm from trading side, so the economics, like you sharing the economics with the projects, with the players, with the people on the market is the most efficient way. Because you can see a lot of projects, they're distributing the cons, doing airdrop, getting attentions from different countries or different circle. So I think they're sharing the economics, but at the same time, need to maintain the sustainability of the projects without just airdrop all the cons and you don't have any follow-up planning. That you can make one-time money, but not continuous making projects great. So that's what most of the Chinese doing, just airdrop and grab the money, yeah. And I strongly don't suggest it, but I just think providing economics to the player is a very good point. Just like Binance, they do from the very beginning, giving referral fees, referral link to the KOL, sharing the futures fee with them. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I think at Crypto.com at least, we've been fortunate to have a lot of data to look at, but I don't think a lot of startups have that luxury. But definitely, depending on what product you're launching and when you're looking for fit, doing as much research. I think the industry's been around enough of a time to be able to get data and study and really think about how your product fits into certain jurisdictions. So that's definitely one. And I also go back to the regulatory side of it's kind of a habit, but that's also something that you definitely have to consider moving forward.
Now I would love to ask, besides the marketing thing we just shared, like it might be a bit tricky for Kwan here because you're actually crypto.com, right? But out of this project we have seen in the last years, invested, participated or used, which project you think is a really good example that showed a good international product that fits under the description you guys shared, as well as the marketing-wise? Crypto.com?
Yeah, no, that's tough. Well, definitely the industry has grown so much in the past, it's 11 years or so. I think there have been a lot of companies. Selfishly, we've done a good job of launching, the company in 2016. I think we have about 80 million users across our ecosystem of products. But there's definitely a lot of good companies out there, and it depends on what the goals are too, right? Increasing the number of users. Our goal is to reach 1 billion users. So we're almost there, and there's certainly a lot of room to grow too.
I don't know if it's correct or not when you're talking about marketing, which is a successful example. Let's say FTX. Yeah,
they had good run indeed. Yes.
Yeah, because they start running FTX in Hong Kong. The issue was in Hong Kong before. I've seen them from the very beginning to last year. There's no doubt that they're very successful in marketing, in promotions, no matter in cooperation with the community, KOL, from the regulation side, but they failed at the end, right? Because they didn't have a very thorough and transparent accounting policy, etc. But they demonstrate a very good marketing example.
They did. I remember clearly that when FTX came out, it was back in the mid-2019. They had this it's very interesting, kind of like it doesn't break, kind of like a slogan out there with a very interesting tissue box. And yeah, it's very interesting as well. I remember Crypto.com spent a lot of money back in 2020s on the buses as well as the stadium, right? They spent tons of money for that. And just as my side, which project I've seen that really went successful in terms of the internationalization. It's also the answer is a bit affiliated attachment of Binance, because luckily enough, I was the fund I co-started with. We used to be the largest equity shareholder of Binance until CZ bought it back in 2020. And then I was part of Binance Lab myself a couple of years ago. So there's just a lot of things I went through from outside as an investor, as an equity shareholder, that I have seen how they grew from a team of 12 out from Shanghai, all the way to the way they are today. And in a pathway, I was part of the team, seeing how they grow from 3,000 to 6,000 as well. So but I think they really did a good job. And something that will also refer back to the other question I was going to ask is, I think it's a lot has to do with the mentality of the team that you have mentioned. Like the core team is so international enough. Like I think CZ himself is international enough that to be able to speak out there on Twitter, where back in 17, 18, the key exchanges in crypto space were Chinese. OKEX, Huobi, that both founders didn't really speak much English. So that's kind of like the long age they had. And of course, the product was good enough, simple enough, that was to adapt the Westerners. And then obviously today it's much more complex. But back then I think they were able to fit into the marketing Twitter space with CZ, the Chinese with He, whereas the product was simple enough for the Westerners. And I think in a couple of angles they did pretty well to achieve the level they are today. And now I would like to also ask down the line, other question is that, well, what you guys would suggest to the local entrepreneurs out there today in terms of moving forward with globalization? What do you guys think that's kind of some of the key indexes?
For suggestions to local entrepreneur, I would suggest them to explore the culture of the place you want to develop first. Let's say if you are like a Korean entrepreneur, you want to explore, develop your business or your projects into Hong Kong or in China, you must understand the culture locally first, because before you ending into the market. Let's say, for example, in Hong Kong, it's hard to develop projects that is not financially involved. Let's say NFT or creative projects, it's hard to survive in Hong Kong. Then you shouldn't enter into Hong Kong, into NFT's place, because there's no player in Hong Kong, for example that. But in Paris or in like Dubai, there are a lot of chances or opportunity for the NFT players in there. So I think understanding the culture of the local is the first thing you need to do before starting anything first.
Yeah, no, I would echo that. Definitely, depending on the product, the market fit is very important. But having trusted people on the ground that understand the market is key. Like I think you mentioned earlier, like the Western culture, Eastern culture, it's very different. Sometimes even in this space. Market research, it's something I think on the startup side, it's not something, it moves so fast, right? This crypto space, it's 24/7, it's nonstop, but to the extent you can do some market research, it's always very, very helpful.
And also about partnership, because I believe you also mentioned about finding local partners. Local partners are obviously very important, but it's sometimes hard to select. Because it's, how do you guys, what's the best strategy to advise to some of the new startups here today that want to move out of Korea? They will likely move either to Europe, Southeast Asia, or even States, or wherever, anywhere else. What do you think, would you suggest in selecting the right partners? The strategy for selecting or the strategy to work with these partners? Any suggestion? I mean, you are very international as Crypto.com. You guys obviously have tons of partnership around.
Yeah, absolutely. We've had the luxury to kind of look at some of the markets that we want to enter and have local, GMs run the offices with local teams. But, as depending on the jurisdiction, you might be forced to have a local partner sometimes, or you might work with someone that's already, within the company that's in-house that understands certain markets, which is a luxury. Definitely, when you're out there looking for external partners, trying to see what synergies there are and what gaps and resources that they can supplement for you and also on your side how you can help the partners. I think those are very important to have a common goal right off the bat.
For startup entrepreneur that not as big as Crypto.com, there's a lot of resources to find the local partners. I strongly suggest you guys to join those local events like Hackathon or Blockchain Week locally, just like the Glitch. You can find various developers or projects or venture capital into one single event, and it's your chance to find quality partners and locally when you travel around to different events. And I think that's very good because you can find different types of investors if you're looking for investors, because some investors are looking for NFTs, some are looking for DeFi's, and for the entrepreneur they want to start locally, it's a very good place for you to find various investors in different industry.
Yeah, I guess from different platforms, it's mentioned by Nick that Crypto.com has a huge number of employees, a big platform. It's sometimes easier to do the partnership selection, whereas for others, maybe a little bit difficult, right? Something I would just advise to any project, and not just to projects, I always try, when it comes to partnership, I always try to find the common incentives. So I wouldn't be screwed 1,000 miles away for where I live or where I hear anything. So the common incentive structure is very important when you come up with a strong partnership. And obviously, you have different partnerships. You have very light ones, more of a PR sort of, and you have the real ones that you want to go deep and long with. Incentive is important. That's why very often when it comes to this sector, I would suggest the project to carefully select investors, meaning that you make sure the investor you have has certain resources in the target that you want to move into or the region you want to move into, because the investors can bring their other portfolios or their relative friends, because they don't want them to also screw you up, right? Because the incentives are aligned. Or if there's not from investor perspective, then at least in the business operation, I wouldn't call it so much as JV because it's very heavy, but make sure that all the partnership you move forward, there's always kind of KPI alignment, incentives are always aligned from both sides. And believe, lesson from life, not just from crypto, there's never a free lunch. So don't get into a partnership because you got something really for free, because it just doesn't exist. There's always a ticket earlier or later for you to come back with. So that's something I would really suggest to follow into. And also, just before the last question is about the culture. The culture is so different. I mean, Korean culture that I have been here, and some people say Japanese. In Japan, it's also very unique. In China, it's also very unique. In Middle East, it's unique. How would you guys tackle the culture part for the startup moving international?
Well, I was born here. My wife's Korean, but I still don't understand the culture sometimes here. Always when you tackle something, you just gotta. I think you gotta win the local market. Really understand and your product before you expand globally. I just want to add that, you've got to understand like how to compete in the local market. I think you'll take a lot of those things as you go. Try to compete globally as well. So that's something the company has done well on the Crypto.com side too, because it was a small startup in 2016 that became global, and now we're kind of doing a reverse and going into these local markets. But the key was kind of getting to know the culture, understanding the local markets and kind of winning that market first.
Yeah, that's true. Same as you, man. I don't really understand the Chinese culture sometimes. Even I'm like sort of local. But I believe getting opinions from different angles, different players, that helps you to understand more about that local market or the cultures. Because you may find different people in one country, but have different opinion, different types of players, I would say. Yeah. So I would suggest startup entrepreneurs that would like to adapt to the local culture, trying to go Discord or try DAO or try even more TradFi solutions like LinkedIn, or find some local consultants that helps you more understand the local cultures, so you can better understand and get involved into the market.
Sweet. I mean, that's I guess everything what you guys said are correct. Something I would like just to address from my side is from my experience. I think towards a cultural question, I've been receiving tons of it in the past. I always keep openness. Keep your mind open, because the culture is really damn different. Really different between the places. I lived in many places in my life, like tons, and then the culture is really different. And then the only thing that I think I would suggest keeping the mind open to accept and listen out to the new things. Maybe somewhere between the line you're gonna hear it. And also besides being open, by the end of the day, it's always the people are here to do something, right? So by the end of the day, besides being open to listen to whatever they want to propose, whether by the end of the day the common goal incentive are aligned. I think that's still the final key. I always try to reach after discussing with them, besides the cultural part. And luckily enough, crypto is actually by itself, Web3 is very international. With the people in the same space, speak the same language, mindset, consensus. That's what we've been reaching for. And then last question, a very classical one. Each of you, what would you suggest to the teams that want to go international? Like short one sentence, please.
Do your own research.
Like lazy research.
Yeah, do your own research, and just don't FOMO. Just don't fear of missing out, because that may break you out of the local market, and that can kill you.
Agree.
Yeah, just work hard. There's a lot of cycles. Don't get down. I think sometimes morale is down during these bear cycles, but always, I think if you put your mind to it and you got the right people, you can always go into these global markets.
Sweet. And well, for me, I guess just one sentence to all this team: work hard and be bold. Keep trying. Right. All right. That will finalize our panel today about suggestion from us for the global market expansion, both product, marketing strategy, and some other experience we have shared. Well, and thank you guys for being here. Well, we'll be moving forward then. Thank you.